What's up, everybody? It's your man Il Microphone, aka The Dawn. I am back with another video today. I'm gonna talk about my album that I did with Stizzle back in the days. In 2013 we released a collaborative album named the New Era. I'm gonna break down the album and give you a little backstory about the whole album and the project, and working with my homie Stizzle from the United States. So in 2012 I released my first project ever, which was an EP named the Pacific EP. I produced the entire EP myself, all the instrumentals, and I had a few collaborations as well. Then fast forward 1 year later, I did a collaborative album with Stizzle named The New Era. We released it on October 10th of 2013. And my main focus on that album, my role was particularly the role of the producer. I produced the entire album as far as the instrumentals, and most of the raps came from Stizzle. I had a few verses as well, and one solo track, and with other collaborations. So let me take you a little bit back in time, because I remember there was a time in YouTube where I started to follow other producers and as well as underground rappers as well. It was sort of a renaissance moment for myself musically. I started making beats, also writing raps, and also recording music. I subscribed to a channel named Tozu Productions. It's a guy from Finland, I believe, and I like his beats. I like the beats on his channel. You know, I followed other producers as well who also used Fruity Loops. That was an era in itself on YouTube, which I thought was dope. I heard him. He did a album with Stizzle, and that was the first time that I heard about Stizzle, which was through the channel of Tozu. And my first initial thought was like, man, this guy, this rapper is dope. You know, everything was dope about his style. So they did the album. And I liked his style, and I saw that this is the type of hip hop that you know, we are missing. You know, and back then you had on YouTube you could send people personal messages, DMs, and etc. You know, so his channel was also there, and so I reached out. I remember I reached out to Stizzle and I sent him a DM on YouTube, and I said something along the line like, "Yo, what's up? I'm a rapper from. I live in the Netherlands, and I also produce and etc. And I really like your style, and I really would like to work with you, like to do a collaboration." And I remember his first initial reply was that yeah, he's always down for a collaboration, but he needed to hear the song first. Just to make sure that the song is not whack. And I totally understood what he was saying, you know, because that he was an incredible MC in my opinion. And of course he had a lot of, you still have, especially nowadays, a lot of whack rappers. So I could understand that he didn't want to waste his time by writing a whole verse and record just for whack rapper. So I then started to search for beats. I didn't produce the first one myself, but Third Leg Beats, shout out to him as well. I knew about his channel. I heard a beat that I thought was a perfect beat. I wrote a concept named Offensive Attack. I had already 2 verses written, excuse me, but I decided to first record the first verse because I just wanted to let him hear a little bit of the song so that he had an idea. Maybe he would like, maybe not, you know. Then I could record the other verse later. I sent it to him, and he really was enthusiastic, as what I remember. So then he dropped his verse. He recorded his verse, and you know, we end up making the first collaboration ever, which is named Offensive Attack, which by the time for me was also revolutionary, because I was taking my pen game a little bit to the next level. And fast forward, then I remember I sent up another DM at the time we had contact, you know, and I already told him I respected his style, and there seemed to be a click with him over there, music wise, and I remember in that time I felt like it was maybe a little bold move for me back then. I really tried to be as humble as possible, and I thought like, what if we could do a small album, like an EP? So, and I wasn't even sure, because I thought like maybe I'm asking too much, just maybe I should ask another. But then I was like, you know what? I want to make something happen. Let's see how he will reply. Obviously for me it doesn't really matter if he would decline. I would totally understand it. So I sent him in a message. Let's do a EP. If he would be down to do an EP, because I thought his style's dope. And I remember his first reply was that he didn't want to do an EP, and excuse me once again. And my first thought was like, yeah, obviously, like I was asking too much, and there were no hard feelings, nothing, I totally got it, and I was like, yeah, asking an EP, obviously, like people are not just gonna say yes. But then to my surprise, on the next follow-up message he sent me, he said to me like, why do an EP? I want to do a whole album with you. So I was a little bit shocked when I read that message. I was like, wow, a whole album, and he was like, yeah, man, I think you are dope, and obviously there was a great musical connection, and it's also a mutual respect. So I was surprised. I was like, oh hell, I'm definitely down to do a whole album. I was just trying to be a little bit humble, like not ask too much. I thought the EP was too much, but then I understood he was like, no, let's do a whole album. Like, then I was like, no problem, I got you. So this was the moment where now I started to also, not only my pen game, but my production game, as I would say, as a beat maker. Because I am a producer first, actually, before I'm a rapper. I already had a few beats, because I already was going to a certain direction as far as producing. And I remember I had like 3 or 4 tracks that were, some of them were already done, and the other ones I started. So I let Stizzle hear the beats. So I just to have an idea what he thought. He was immediately very enthusiastic. From that moment I knew like, okay, I know where I'm going. And this was the first album where I started to sample songs. Usually I always do my own compositions, but now I found it, developed new techniques with sampling, and I had a new sound and everything seems right. So for that moment he liked it. Then I started to make all the other beats from scratch. Like I had maybe like two more songs that I finished that I let him hear, and he actually liked it. Homicide Heaven, which I actually had like, I wanted to throw it away because that's a funny story by itself, because I felt like I probably wouldn't rap it on myself, but then he made a here and there a little adjustment, the musical genius, and then he started to rap, and that's how the beat came about. As far as Homicide Heaven, Broke as Fuck as well, there was also a beat. It wasn't a throwaway, I wouldn't call it throwaway beat, but I had already done, and I just sent it him. I didn't expect him to choose it, because that's the only beat that I fully composed with no samples. And he also liked it, and from there on, I had a direction and I had a style. I knew what he wanted, I knew where we were going. Then I started to search for music to sample. Mistress was one of the first beats that I directly sampled and intentionally made for the new era. At that time I already had the title name in my head, and it was a Irish sample. I did here and there a little twist, sent it to Stizzle, loved it, made a classic song, Mistress, dope song, really dope. I was really impressed by the whole concept of the song. Then I sent it him more like Rebellion. Then I started to make Concrete Heart, which was featuring Hot Topic, and a broken spot was with D-Mols, by the way. Hard to Kill featuring Price, you know. Then I started to make all these beats. Then I totally understood, and the musical chemistry was there. Then, you know, we also had a few collaborations in the album, but my role more, I focused more as a producer. And I'm glad that at that time I met Stizzle, because when I was making the new era, I felt like I wasn't personally ready yet to like make an album with these beats. I don't know what it was, but I felt like my English, or like I wasn't artistically ready yet but I also felt like these beats, I really considered them like something special. I just didn't want to put it online, you know, like most producers do, just put the beats here online, here and there, and for everybody to use. I felt like there was something special. So this is why I'm very grateful that I met Stizzle at the right time, when I also, at that moment, the new era, I considered that beat-wise one of my best work. Even though now I'm a much greater producer, I still listen back to all the instrumentals, and I can definitely see like that was a huge moment. Like I've said it a couple of times to Stizzle, but he may not have an idea, but he played a huge role, not only for me to improve as a rapper, but even improve as a beat maker. Because one thing he did a lot, when he requested me to do a few adjustments, like The Bachelor. Like he said, like take the bass out on the 3rd bar and put it on the 4th bar with Homicide Heaven. Like take out the brace and put it towards the end. You know, here and there were things, and I started to adjust according to what he wanted to do. Because to me, I think when you're a producer, it's very important to, like, you know, you are a team with your artists, you know, so make sure that your artists that you're producing for are as comfortable as possible. But him, I think he's a musical genius. I'm not sure if he even realized it about himself. Not only like a rapping genius, I think he's a musical genius anyway. And this is what I meant with why I think the new era, Stizzle made me not even a better rapper, but a much better producer. Because those few adjustments, I started to look, and you know, I started to understand, like, okay, this is a different angle that I never thought about. So that also allowed me then in the future to think more than just like certain patterns of making beats. And for that I'm very thankful. Then when the album was finished, you know, I made a cover and I proposed the name for the new era, you know, and he thought it was a great idea. I will say that I'm very proud, and it was a big honor for me to work with Stizzle, but also with the other collaborators on the album: Price, D-Mols, Hot Topic, Calabrese, Crizzle on Doomsday, and Calabrese on Rebellion. You know, it was a great album. I learned a lot from it. I became a much better producer from it, thanks to Stizzle. Years later, we did a couple more collaborations, and yeah, what more can I say? It was a really great experience, and for that I will always be thankful for Stizzle. A big shout out. I have immense respect for him, especially even now my English more improving. When I listen back to the concept, till this day I still think the whole album is genius. Like the you know, and that also as a rapper, you know, because it's a little bit strange. I speak as a producer and as a rapper, but from both sides I felt like I learned a lot from this individual. Incredible MC. So shout out to you as well, Stizzle, and I'd like to thank you. It was a big honor to make this album. Il Microphone, I'm out.
Are you real? think about is advanced prodigious. If you ever want to battle with your hands, I'm with it. Look a nigga in the eye, and my stance is pivot. Took a break from real shit, had to answer critics. All you rappers think about is advanced prodigious. If you ever want to battle with your hands, I'm with it. Look a nigga in the eye, and my stance is pivot. Took a break from real shit, had to answer critics.